I have messaged them personally because what they're going through is hard as fuck. It's scary and I still care for them. Put all of that aside, okay? I'm still allowed to have fucking opinions, okay? Why would you sit there in a Discord and tell people you don't want to give money to Beck because everyone's saying that they want to, and that you're going to post a poll in hopes that people say no, don't do that, just so you don't have to do that?
Hi guys, how are you doing today? My name is Kidneyjay. The J stands for jerk because my kidneys are a pair of jerks. And that, of course, was Beck's ex, Amberlynn, No Sympathy Bone Reed, talking about giving money to Beck. And we're going to get into all of that. But before I do get started, if you could please press all of my buttons, that would please me so much. Now, I did do a Beck update video about 5 days ago, and they were on the mend. Beck said that the triple bypass incision was actually finally healing. A plastic surgeon wouldn't be needed to do a skin graft. That's how well they were healing until things weren't. And Beck did an update. First, we're going to talk about Beck talking about losing their job. Beck updated their community tab 6 days ago and basically wished everyone a happy Halloween, but also said that they got an email saying that their job has let them go because their time off was longer than their FMLA. And thank you to my wonderful audience who let me know about FMLA, which is Family and Medical Leave Act in the United States, and it allows eligible employees up to 12 weeks of unpaid job-protected leave for family illnesses, personal medical reasons as well. So it looks like that protected leave expired basically, and Beck was let go from their job. Now, if that wasn't bad enough, Beck, unfortunately, as I am talking and doing this right now, is in the hospital. So the next community post from Beck was this. 4 days ago, Beck said that they had a fever, pain near their shoulders, runny nose, drainage, coughing, you know, the usual yucky stuff when you're sick. They went to the ER. They had x-rays done that showed either fluid or some collapse in their lower part or both lungs, as well as they had a CBC, a complete blood count, blood work, and it showed an increase in white blood cells, which is basically your immune system marching in and fighting any disease or infection you had, as well as they had low hemoglobin, which could have been left over from their triple bypass. Beck could have lost blood there. I don't know what her normal is. And then they followed it up with a picture of an IV. And now Beck said, hopefully they won't be there too long. But like I said, they are still in the hospital with this infection. Then 1 day ago, Beck updates basically saying that they have been admitted into the hospital and they found an abscess near their sternum. Now, Beck has not been healing well since her triple bypass. Unfortunately, Beck has type 2 diabetes and that can impede any healing. So it looks like Beck had another surgery, another debridement. Basically, they go in, clean around the wound, get all the dead tissue out, get out all the bacteria, and it's supposed to help promote healing. Beck again is put on a wound vac that they were just taken off last week because of this new abscess. Okay, are you still with me, beans? Because we have one more community post to get through that Beck just uploaded today. And then we're going to talk about some money, honey. Because it looks like Beck received some money from Rachel and Amberlynn Reed reaction channel. So I'll cover that at the end. But Beck's latest community post basically says that they had x-rays done. They are still in a lot of pain. When the doctors drained their abscess in the sternum, it came back positive for 2 different kind of bacterias, and because of that, Beck needs to have her antibiotics adjusted. And when Beck goes home, they may go home with a PICC line for those IV antibiotics. Beck, of course, is nervous because they're in a lot of pain and there are so many things that are happening. Now, Beck says one of the bacteria found was staph, which can be very serious. Beck doesn't know what the other one was, but I'm confident the doctors will have the right antibiotics to cover what is going on there. So now let's talk about money. So the clip at the beginning was basically Amberlynn Reid responding to this woman here called Rachel Reacts, which is an Amberlynn Reid reaction channel. Now Rachel was caught in the DMs talking about donating money to Beck because if you don't know, Beck had inherited a sum of money from their mom, and Amberlynn basically took it from them.
She said that I couldn't have it because the bills needed to be paid, even though I knew that she was making enough from YouTube to cover bills and rent with no problem.
And that brings us to the Discord messages with Rachel. Hecticana, another Amberlynn Reid reaction channel, asks, so are you going to give the money to Beck? The comments were pretty overwhelmingly in favor of that. And you can read the Discord messages here. I'm not going to read them out to you. It looks like Rachel was leaning on the side of not giving Beck any money, but it looks like in the end, Rachel did pay Beck some money. Beck pinned a comment and it reads, update, Rachel did PayPal me that money. Thanks everyone who let me know. This is going to help me out so much. I set it all aside to pay for rent, Uber, medicine, food, and bills for the next 2 months. I applied for food stamps recently too, but with everything going on, I know that will be a slow process. Beck is talking about the government shutdown. I feel like I can relax while I heal, and I am so grateful for that. So I don't know how much Rachel PayPal'd Beck. Obviously, it was substantial if Beck can cover rent and food and Ubers with the money. So to sum it all up, Beck is unfortunately back in the hospital because they have an infection in the sternum, basically the incision where Beck had their triple bypass is on different antibiotics. Might go home soon with those IV antibiotics with a PICC line. Still waiting for a biopsy on the lung to see if that is cancerous. And still healing basically from that triple bypass. Now, I will say this, as a very experienced patient, I have been here where basically everything happens at once. Like I broke one hip, then I broke another, and then it just seems like it never ends. But I do believe Beck will get better. I've read the comments from cardiac nurses who see this a lot, where unfortunately the wound does not heal and there are setbacks. But I do believe Beck will get better. Hopefully Beck is really taking seriously her type 2 diabetes, which is not helping the situation. And what I mean by that is basically not helping the wounds heal as they should. But hopefully Beck will get over this. Like I said, I do believe she will. If you made it this far, I appreciate you, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye now.